what's up?
Baby, let's go.
Welcome to our website. We got loads of news and gossip for you today. But first, here's a new song.
The moon, the stars, the sky. Come on closer, baby, let the lights go out. Yeah. We fall and then we rise. No more alibis, I wanna hide now. Yeah. Fall into the fire, baby, we could ride the night, yeah. I'ma show you, or we could shine the light, hey. Lift your hands, free your mind and mind combine and float up to the higher. It's okay, it's okay. Close your eyes, baby, let me show you your love, your love. Come on, baby, let me get you close to your love, your love. Your love, your love. Your love, your love. Walk a straight line, how many fingers? An ecstasy, fragrance lingers, yeah. And those endless conversations, and you feel it floating now. I finally got you, and I'm following you into the fire. Baby, we could ride the night, yeah. I'ma show you, or we could shine the light, yeah. Lift your hands, free your mind and mind combine and float up to the higher. It's okay, it's okay. Close your eyes, baby, let me show you your love, your love. Come on, baby, let me get you close to your love, your love. Your love, your love. Your love, your love. Hold me up, cause you never wanna drop me, not me. Got the key, dancing to unlock me. Side to side, know their fingers don't faze me. Crazy to say, but nothing's gonna stop me. You're dying to get you. I ain't playing with you. I ain't playing with you. What you say, what you say? Oh, come on, get it longer. Oh, come on, get it longer. Close your eyes, baby, let me show you your love, your love. Come on, baby, let me get you close to your love, your love. Close your eyes, baby, let me show you your love, your love. Come on, baby, let me get you close to your love, your love. Show you, let me show you your love, your love.
It's lunchtime and the Brooklyn Cafe is open for business. Live from the Amp Media Studios, Dawn and Freddie S. and their team are ready to serve up a huge portion of fun for lunch with friends and neighbors. So let's break open that lunch pail and unwrap that sandwich you brought and take a front row seat in the Brooklyn Cafe and get ready to enjoy some humor and hot topics. It's time to get a healthy serving of hope and happiness to help your day go by with a smile. Your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S., are ready to talk about food, health, dating, or just plain dream making. If you have a story to share, movie review, restaurant critique, or just a coincidental thing that happened to you, call in toll free 888-994-4995, Studio A right now. Sit back and enjoy your lunch break at the Brooklyn Cafe. Here are your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S.
And the ring-a-ding-ding.
You got no bell.
Welcome to the Brooklyn Cafe on a beautiful Monday morning. Monday Madness.
Monday afternoon to you. I got to tell you something. You're not even going to believe this. I got to find it, and then I'll show it to you.
Oh, look, they brought me a bell.
They brought you your bell. Thank you, ma'am.
She's too busy on her phone.
Usual bell. No, I was going to show you this picture that came up on my memory that I think today might be like the first anniversary of me ever working with you on a show.
Every week you get that.
Like the first time ever, that
Yes, I
first
saw it.
interview
I
that
saw it.
I did
You
not
look
move
like a
my
little-
hands.
You look like a little kid.
I was. That was 5 years ago. It just kind of popped up.
You were 5 years old.
Isn't that crazy? 5 years ago.
I know.
I know. It was way before anything. It was when I didn't move my
I
hands
don't know
or
how
anything.
they got 5. It's got to be closer to 6, not 5.
I've actually known you for 10,
So how could that be?
but I've only been working with you for 5. I know it feels like 50. I know.
Anyway, we have to get started fast because we have a
We
short
got a lot of
minute.
stuff going on today. A lot of stuff. I
You have
love
to
that
turn
song,
that
by
up.
the way.
Yes, that song is
Anyway,
brought to you
happy
by
Monday. Monday Madness to you is all I can tell you.
Monday Madness.
But yet it's a little quiet here. That
No, it's
picture,
not. We
I
got-
love that.
We got plenty. We got our guest. We got what do you would call him? Our guest what? Co-host for the week. And then he says, I can't be here tomorrow. I tell you, you're gonna be here whether you're on your phone or you're here. You're gonna be here. I don't want to hear it.
You know, when your people spoke to my people and they took the meeting, there was an agreement on my availability for you and what the extras were going to be day by day.
Well, your
Agreement-
people
we
are
had
now
agreement with all
officially
that.
missing.
Excuse me?
Your people are officially missing.
My people have been MIA
Yes.
for quite a while, but now
About 2 years now.
about 10 years. But we're working on that right now.
Now you and me, we got something going on tomorrow.
And what's that?
The Boston Red Sox are playing the New York Mets at Shea Stadium in Citi Field.
I'll have to watch that. What time is that game?
Games are at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Okay.
So you and me are gonna have a
can do-
friendly bet.
Love it. What are we betting?
I don't know. You haven't come up with it. You haven't thought that far.
I-
The Mets are playing the Sox,
I got
and the
the
last
answer to that.
time
I got
we
the answer.
played,
I think the Mets are going to win.
Bruckner had a little hole between his legs.
No, that's not true. He did not have a hole between his legs. He had a cavern under his glove that permitted a Mack truck to go by, causing us to lose that particular game.
Was it that we won the World Series, or you gave it to us?
You know, the fact is, let me explain. I can go on for about an hour on that topic. You won it. I give it to you.
And then you
won
went
the
on to
game.
win 4.
Yeah, I get it. You won the game, and you won the day after. And anybody could have won the day after.
You guys are so
but
depressed.
you won it. Mookie, what was his name?
Mookie Wilson.
Mookie Wilson and a cast of thousands beat the Boston Red Sox in 1986. The curse continued.
Yes, because you sold the great Bambino to the Yankees.
Excuse me, I didn't do it.
Yeah,
Harry
you were there.
Frazee.
I know
Harry
you were there. You were
Frazee
drinking Gubber in the background.
Sold Babe Ruth to the Yankees.
For nothing.
May he be cursed unto eternity.
And he has cursed the Boston Red Sox.
And
You
you-
guys
you know-
know who the great Bambino is?
All I know is I need a drink.
Well,
Well, that's why I'm here.
That's why you're here, and I know it's so great that Taylor's here also. Taylor Morgan, meet Steve Gadd, because apparently this one's on me, guys. Quench Time, Dining Guide and Cocktail Club. When does this start now?
It started in November.
Well, we're a few months late then. That's all I can tell you.
It started in November of what year?
2020. Actually, it was born right out of the pandemic. It was born as a result of the pandemic because we all need a drink, right?
Steve, don't we all need a drink?
We all need a drink. In fact, we need many drinks. But
Yes.
we want to drink responsibly, which means make sure you don't spill.
Well, the amazing thing is that the U.S. government considers this guy an essential, a first responder, a necessity of survival.
I would tend to agree, based on
This
how
guy?
Absolutely. I drive around in Boston with this sign on my car that says, I am an essential worker. Make way.
I think that you had like a police presence come down to the studio. Had
I
all
have
these
those
cops around
lights. I have right on my car. I have the lights. I have a siren. I have a state police escort. But that's, of course, because they're driving me to the jail because I just got pinched for speeding. So that's another story.
Yes, we've got Steve Gubb here live and in person from Gubbarum. He is no longer in Boston on our VMix. He's actually here in person, which is great for you to meet Taylor. Taylor, what is Quench Time?
Quench Time, like I said, it was actually born out of the pandemic as a way to help restaurant owners because, on March 20th last year, 2020, all the restaurants had to shut down. And I'm friends with so many of them in this area that when they shut down, I started looking for like a restaurant relief fund that they could go apply to because we had no idea whether they were going to be down for a week, a month, 2 months, whatever. And to my astonishment, Dawn, there was no restaurant relief fund anywhere that I could tell these guys where to go to just to get some money to tide them through. So we launched this company because we knew that restaurant owners were going to have a hard time getting people back in seats. So we wanted to help restaurant owners in the short and the long term. So in the short term, we created this cocktail club. So what gets people more in seats better than free drinks?
True.
So if you're a member of Quench Time, you take your little Quench Time membership card and you bring it to any of the participating restaurants. We have 85 in Palm Beach County so far, from Boca to Tequesta, and you get a free cocktail with purchase of a meal. Cocktails are expensive these days.
Yes.
So you could save, for 2 people, you could save up to $24 on your bill every time you go
Wow.
to a participating restaurant.
That's pretty
Right.
good.
And then, so that helps get people in the seats. Restaurants pay us nothing. This is a free dining guide for them. In the long term, from each membership, we give $1 to the Restaurant Relief Fund, so that in the future, when there's a pandemic or a hurricane or a slip and fall of a server who doesn't have any medical insurance, we donate to help restaurant owners and their employees in times of crisis.
Wow.
So
How many restaurants are participating?
so far 85, and we're in diapers. We are so brand new right now, and so
in
thank you very much for the opportunity to let people know. What is your market here? Is it Delray Boca, or are you everywhere?
We're
'Cause
everywhere. We're
Everywhere.
from
Okay.
here
We
to
go-
Manchester,
Wow.
England. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Wow.
go everywhere. Yeah, we
Okay,
have,
so
It's
Manchester,
gonna be
England, come on over.
Kind of hard to get these to Manchester, but it could be
but
something
it
you might
can be
want to
done.
start.
No, it's not hard. It just has to be done. I'm really glad you're here because I didn't know he was going to be here.
I know, this is a perfect match.
And this is the
Get
perfect
me
match.
into
You follow-
Boston. I
forget
get you
about-
in here.
We can do
Forget
that.
about JoJo.
Forget about
Go
JoJo.
with
You
Taylor.
gotta take this lady to our 85 restaurants because his product is phenomenal.
Yes.
It really is.
We're already talking about that. So,
And-
I mean, you guys just, you just spread the love. It's awesome.
Well, this guy
She's
here.
got a great radio voice.
He does. She does. That's another angle I wanted to go there. This guy, it took him almost 2 years to come back. He visited once, and now he's back for a second time. And he has a great product, and I think that that's a great launch. I want to have a shirt made. I don't want to have a card. I want to sort of have a permanent shirt.
This is Quench Time.
Yeah, quench
Slick.
this.
Yeah.
Quench this is what he wants on his shirt.
Slick, let's do a promo. Quench this.
That's just not right on any level, Jordana.
You're going to wear that in public?
I may put lights on it.
Outside of this studio, you're going to wear, it's going to say quench this?
Quench time is good, but quench this will get attention.
Are
I'm
you-
just saying.
We're working on stuff like that.
Are you from Brooklyn or the Bronx? I just want to know.
I'm from wherever you want me to be.
That is a definitely a Jeff Greenberg comment.
But think about it. How many people would be talking about it? I don't care whether or not what they read. It's that they talk about it.
How do people find out what restaurants are included? Because, yes, half of my bill when I go out is alcohol.
Exactly. That's my point. And the beautiful thing about this is the fact that a drink costs you a lot of money, right? So it's a high value incentive for you to go to a restaurant and get, a glass of wine off. But for the restaurant, because we never want to hurt the restaurant, for a restaurant, that glass of wine costs them about $2 to pour. So it's a low cost for them, high value for you, and that makes it a win-win. There's a dining guide on the website. It's called quenchtime.com. Quench as in quench your thirst.
Quench
A lot of people think I say crunch time. No, it's quench time. And like in Delray, we have Dada, we have Wooden Fire, we have in Boca Les Sorel in Boca and Delray, Dubliner, Kapow,
Wow.
Chez Marie, Renzo's, Nicoletta's and Boynton, and all the way up to Tequesta. And very soon we're moving into Broward and the Treasure Coast and Miami.
I've had a drink at all those places you mentioned.
You
Oh my
probably have.
God. Me and my liver are like, oh my God.
This is incredible since November. And how do you make money though? Because
On
you're
the
giving me
subscription, the consumer there is a subscription, so
Okay.
you have to be a member, and the membership fee costs the price of one drink. So it's like $9.99 for a single membership, or $19.99. It's per month. $19.99 for a couple's membership, but every time you go to a Quench Time restaurant, you get the free drinks. So you can pay for your membership in just one use.
Wow. That's
it-
amazing.
I gotta tell you, this membership thing is the coolest thing
Mm-hmm.
because I belong to different organizations, and every time I go to a place, I get to get something free, whether it's a half a meal with this, a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Never the drinks, it's always in the food thing.
Exactly.
And it lights me up because I get, sometimes I say 25, 30 bucks, depending on what it is that I'm doing. But this is a home run again.
I know. I'm pulling up the website right now.
Yeah,
What
and
are you
I'd
gonna
like to
join?
give, I have a promo code for your viewers to try it out free for 1 month, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
And no credit card required. I don't want your credit card. I want people to try it. If they like it, then more the merrier. Become a member, and the more members we have, the more we can affect that restaurant relief fund. By for each membership, we donate $1. So when we get to 1,000 members, we'll be donating $1,000 a month. When we get to 10,000 members, it'll be $10,000 a month to this restaurant relief fund.
That's amazing. What's the promo code?
The promo code is Brooklyn. So just go to quenchtime.com, and under memberships, there's a little place where it says promo code. Put in promo code Brooklyn, and you'll get a free 30-day membership of your choice. It's either the couples membership or the singles memberships, whichever one they want.
This is amazing. Wood and Fire, remember we interviewed them a long time ago in Delray.
Half the
Yep.
people on that sheet.
Sequela, Anchor Inn.
Yep. Fries to Caviar. Did I
Fries
say
to
that one?
Caviar is on here. Kapow,
Sequela's a good
Lindbergh's,
place to find,
Delray,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dada, a lot of
You
them.
see all the people here you're going to be meeting?
There's a lot of people here. We're going to make them an offer they can't refuse.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell you, you follow her and you just ride like a surfboard.
I'm going to drive her around. Are you kidding?
What's the Boca Beach House? Because it looks delicious on these pictures.
That is, do you know where Tierra Fiamma is? That's a restaurant out in, I think it's the Delray West Marketplace.
Oh, in the marketplace? Wow.
Yeah. It's not there, but it's there. It's related to them. It's the same owners.
East Palmetto it is.
Right. And it's the same owners as Tierra Fiamma, but it's like a cute little beachy restaurant that is breakfast and lunch and specializing in eggs Benedict.
That looks delicious, I got to tell you.
Like with lobster,
The magic word.
chorizo, and stuff like that.
Chorizo también.
Renzo's and everything.
Langoust.
Now, you know,
And we're
you're-
just beginning. We're going to have a lot
You're
more.
making my head spin because there are certain companies in here that are going to need your assistance to piggyback on what you're talking about. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
my friend over here is one, but there are some others. Jordana Foster, I'm thinking about the Lunch and Learns at these different places. Wayne at Dignity Memorial. There's a lot of things needed, and you're going to lead the way to all these people. We are offering other services to them that will help this cause as well. So I think it was good to have. I think the timing of this thing is perfect.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. All right, check this
Thank
out
you.
at quenchtime.com. The promotional code is Brooklyn to get 1 month free. I mean, it's a no-brainer. If you go out for dinner once in the month, it pays for it, and then after that, it's covered. $9.99 or $12.99 for a couple?
It's
$19.99 a couple.
$19.99 for a couple, $9.99 for
one.
a single.
That's less than a martini on
It
the first,
is.
on the first runaround, is all I can tell you.
No, you don't order a martini. You remove everything but the vodka.
Yes, yes. I went out a couple weeks ago. I ordered a vodka martini with muddled cucumber. They did not have cucumber, and I said, hold the vermouth. And she looked at me. I said, I know, basically vodka in a martini glass. Just bring
With
it
some
cold. There was no cucumber. I felt like that same movie, when he wanted toast and he ordered a BLT and he held the bacon and everything. He just wanted the bread. that same movie.
5 easy pieces.
Exactly. Thank you very much for playing,
Only
Steve.
you.
That's why I'm here. I am the resource. That's why I'm here.
Thanks for playing, Steve.
Wow, you blow my mind.
Can I have the bonus question now? The $25 bonus question? Fire away.
There you have it. All right, contact Taylor Morgan. You can find us at quenchtime.com. Let's take a commercial break. I think we've got another guest coming in, but it's time to get our lunch and learn going. We've got Jordana Foster here. So it's perfect that you guys are here because we're talking about Q2. What does it look like in quarter 1 for you? What are we looking at quarter 2 and going forward for the rest of 2021? Unbelievable.
It's a nice segue to this.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, give us a call, 888-994-4995, Studio A, and we will be right back.
The way you live your life says a lot about you. The way you choose to commemorate your lifetime can say even more. It's a single event that speaks volumes. So how do you celebrate a life? Dignity Memorial providers believe that your memorial service should be as unique as you are, reflecting your personality and your passions. It should be a perfectly tailored send-off, a fitting tribute for family and friends to celebrate the person they love. We're professionals at catering to your every need, right down to the catering. In fact, no detail is too small. So when it comes time for a fitting tribute, we'll see that your final wishes are beautifully fulfilled. It's what Dignity Memorial providers are known for. And why you should rely on us to see that your life is well celebrated. The celebration of a lifetime begins here.
Welcome to your vacation staycation. And what better way to kick back than to blend up a sweet pina colada, a smooth mojito, or just a nice stiff rum and coke. If you want true relaxation and enjoyment, then you want Gubba Rum. Gubba Rum is a unique rum infusion. Gubba Silver Rum is infused with real shredded coconut, and Gubba Rum Gold is infused with real shredded vanilla bean. Both are made with certified organic ingredients. Each infused Gubba Rum is 35% ABV, 70 proof, and as we say in Boston, wicked smooth. So if you're looking for the best combination of taste, smoothness, quality, and price, your clear choice is Gubba Rum. If you want that wicked smooth taste for yourself or your vacation staycation, visit GubbaRum.com to find your closest liquor store that carries Gubba Rum Gold and Gubba Rum Silver. Gubba Rum, it's wicked smooth.
Looking for a cool, laid-back space with great people and even better drinks? You can't lose. The Artful Dodger, Boca Raton's hidden gem. A good, old-fashioned local bar is hard to come by, but not anymore. The Artful Dodger is a fun, casual place to sit back and relax. Located at 495 Northeast 20th Street in Boca Raton, you'll find your new favorite bar. The Artful Dodger. We'll see you there.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
No victims here.
And we're back real quick. Before we get to Jordana, WSOMradio.com. Check it out. Kids from
Space of Mind.
Space of Mind. It's working. We have a little sample in there. Check it out. Do me a favor. Write into them. Let them know that you're listening. It's a nice cause, good cause. Let's get it going.
We actually have someone on VMix also. We've got Dr. Sam joining us from OT for Me. So let's bring Dr. Sam over. We've got Jordana Foster in here. So we're going to line this all up for you on how people are looking into Q2. So let's bring Dr. Sam on.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
This is Dr. Sam. I got to ask you, because I know so much about OT. How did OT for Me end up dealing with picky eaters and getting our kids moving?
Yeah, so I'm an occupational therapist. And in occupational therapy, our main goal is to help kids participate. Sorry?
I'm just telling her she's got to fix your spelling on your name.
Oh, so we help children participate in their everyday occupations. So no, that's not getting them a job, but our occupations are the things we do every day. And that for kids is playing, eating, school, socializing with their family, and picky eating and inactivity hold kids back from being able to do that.
Now, aren't all kids picky eaters?
No.
Really?
And so, yes, I think the number is 25 to 50% of children are described as actual picky eaters.
I remember my son, it was grilled cheese, mac and cheese, chicken fingers, French fries. That's pretty much it. And he's 26, and last night he goes, I had 2 grilled cheeses for dinner. I'm like, yeah, things don't change. 50%.
Yeah, me too.
But OT, from my mind, right, is dexterity and figuring out cutting skills and writing skills and feeding skills. But you actually work with families on helping kids overcome being picky eaters and getting them moving because, right, one of the biggest issues we have right now is everyone's sedentary.
Yes, yes. And actually, occupational therapy is so broad. We work anywhere from inside the hospitals with kids all the way to the NICU. And so it's really surprising for people to realize that we can do all of these different things. And picky eating and movement are something that really stand out to me as something that promotes health for children and often gets overlooked.
Where are you located?
So I have a space that I was planning to work at prior to COVID in Delray. And so right now I'm totally based out of Boca Raton and doing everything via telehealth.
Wow. You know, you were showing me some pictures, and I saw them that your daughter-in-law had posted that the boys were at this playroom, your grandsons.
Correct.
And you could see a lot of them building. One was building very intently, your eldest, and then the other one was climbing on top of everything. So, right, so here's the difference of ages and paying attention, but is that so much getting these kids, their brains going, and if they're in school, out of school, keeping them moving?
Yeah, so actually OT for me initially started helping children specifically in larger bodies. Because with kids in larger bodies, they often get missed. And instead people assume that they just don't want to eat something or that they just don't feel like moving. But really there could be something underlying that's holding them back from being able to do it. And it causes a cycle because they can't do it, they don't want to do it. Because they don't practice it, they don't ever get better at it. And then it's a cycle that kind of continues. And then as I kept working through OT for me, I was getting a lot of calls from other families who weren't in larger bodies. And I figured I needed to expand it to all kids.
So kids in larger bodies, I love the way you phrase that. So we're talking about older kids?
We're talking about both. Surprisingly, I've had kids as young as 5. I would say that's pretty much the youngest I go, all the way to teenage years.
Interesting. And you do all this through telehealth?
All of this through telehealth. And it's funny, families initially are very nervous about telehealth because we're used to having this in-person interaction. And so I think COVID really rocked our world that way. But it also opened up a whole new world to us as therapists where I get a better chance to teach people in their own homes how to do things. So opposed to when I've worked in hospitals and clinics and parents come in and they bring their kid, usually they want to step out while we do therapy, but then the carryover at home isn't there because they weren't present for the session. And because we have all this special equipment, we've got swings hanging from the ceiling, we've got trampolines. It's great, it's fun, but they don't have that at home. And in an hour of therapy, you can't get much done. The magic happens at home.
It's really interesting to be able to use the things you have at your house, right? Because if you've got a swing or a trapeze in your office and you don't have one at home, the kids are like, well, I only do this. And people tell me, you hear them, there's no carryover.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing. You want these skills to carry over, but they can only carry over if the kids in their mind can carry it over.
Yeah, and so telehealth has opened a whole new door for us where the families take their computer and walk me around their house. And I'm like, oh, we have this, and we have this. Let's use that.
So let me ask you a question, because we're segueing into a lunch and learn we have with Jordana Foster, Ready, Set, Go Beyond, of business, how business has changed for you with 2020 going to 21. How has the first quarter of 2020 been for you with different changes and reincorporating things?
Yeah, well, actually, it's interesting. I was planning to just start this business as a little side business while I was still working at the hospital. And then COVID hit. I decided not to put that in. And so I started right in May 2020, right at the beginning of COVID.
And that's how, so business has changed, and it's something you never thought about doing, but yet it's working for you.
Yeah, it's been great. I definitely had to make some quick switches because I was planning to be in person and learn the whole telehealth world, navigate the telehealth world. But essentially, I've been doing the same exact thing as I would be doing in person.
This is sort of what we were talking about, right? How we pivoted in business last year, but the pivot, some of them had silver linings because it allowed us to embrace things like this that we would have never embraced without that pivot. But now that we're in it, we're like, you know what? Some of these things are actually kind of working. We even got Steve Gubb here. Took a little bit of some time, but some of the pivots gave us the push to do things that maybe were out of our comfort zone, but now that we're out, it's working.
Well, I wanted to ask Jordana because it doesn't mean anything new is always going to work. So you sort of have to look and see and make adjustments even on the new things that you try. But is it better to say if your first quarter was slow, which it should be, your second quarter, you want to change it up? You want to keep doing what you've been doing because of what's happened? What's the change? What's the mindset?
So it's really interesting because everybody is moving so quickly, and now we're in the second quarter. We can't believe how fast the weeks are going and the months are going and this year already. And if we are not actually taking the time, which I do this with my clients and I do this with myself, if we're not taking the time to assess how last quarter went, what went well? What didn't go well? What did we do differently? What can we improve upon? We really need to take the time to assess as opposed to just jumping in and that's a new quarter and just to keep going, because then we're not able to make those adjustments like what you're talking about. We're not able to really assess. And in order to just really pause for that moment and reflect. Reflection is a really, it's a really important piece of success because you need to know where you were and what worked and what didn't in order to move forward and to grow and improve. Or you're going to keep having the same mistakes and you're going to wonder why it's not working and you're going to get frustrated and you're going to want to quit and this doesn't work or I'm going to wait until. And that doesn't work. So that's why reflection and assessment are such a big part of what I do for businesses and when I train and coach, because nobody's making the time for that. You actually have to schedule that assessment and reflection time.
Which is interesting. Dr. Sam, I guess you're doing this with the kids and families as well, right? You must do assessments with them monthly or routinely to see what's working, what's not, what do we do next?
Absolutely. We actually start every session with what worked last week, what didn't work last week, and where do we go from here?
What are some of the tips you have for kids, families that are watching that have children that are picky eaters or are always on their computer, how to get them moving?
My biggest thing is making it fun. So if it's not fun, your child is not going to do it. We are innately driven to do things that we find pleasurable. And so for any parent who's struggling out there, who's fighting with their child, feeling like they need to bribe their child, I really challenge my families to take a step back and see, are you enjoying this? Are they enjoying this? The answer is probably not. And so we start making these small changes on where do we go? How do we make this more enjoyable for you both?
Gosh.
Okay, you
Do
see,
you remember
I-
feeding your kids?
No.
Making them
I didn't feed
food?
them. I never fed my kids.
You just open up the cage door and let
I
them
gave
out?
them, I gave them a bow and arrow and says, go get dinner.
Here's a cracker, come out of the cage?
No cracker either. Just come out of the cage. You know, it's funny because I think fun is important. I think change is important. I think delivery is important. You know, they laugh at me in here because I am opening up different studios on the outside of the building. I'm bringing in a pirate ship. I'm bringing in, well, we're going to go to an airport. These are going to be different studios.
We should bring your families to the pirate ship, Dr. Sam.
Oh, the pirate ship is unbelievable.
True.
You know, maybe the restaurant business, for the good cause of what you're doing, you bring them out there because with every child comes a parent. A child's not going to drive to a place. They're going to come with their parents. And all of a sudden you have what the kids are doing, what they do over here because there's going to be a show going on. You have the parents maybe learn a lesson if they own a business, learn something. Maybe they work together to learn something. You know, the problem right now is we haven't learned a damn thing. And I'm saying it on the air. We have not learned, number one, to be clean, to be healthy. Look at the countries right now suffering in this thing. So Q2, if you don't want to repeat, then don't repeat the same mistakes. That's all I'm saying. Give change
So
a
by your
chance.
second child, we shouldn't be repeating the same mistakes.
Absolutely not, because you know
We make
something?
bigger ones by the second
The
child.
older kid in every family gets all the mistakes. All of them. Think about that.
I gotta tell you, I remember feeding my kids, and I would make 3 meals. One for each child, and then one for us. And by the time I sat down to eat, after I finished eating what they didn't eat, right, between just another French fry and another chicken finger, what you do is not just for the kids. What you're doing is saving families.
Yeah, and so I actually say it's not so much that I help kids, but I help parents navigate how to communicate with their kids and how to help their child. I'm really working with the parents as well as the kids.
That is the key.
And then you're growing your business at the same time. Jordana, she's like a whole business structure all rolled up into one, because if you can get to the kids young, we have a kids network. And it's kids hosting shows for kids, by kids, and then we've got a teen show, and that's actually, she's actually teaching at Ready, Set, Go at Space of Mind. But we're good? But it's kids helping kids, and if you can get to them young, like you're getting to them young, and they can assess what's working and not working, and as they get older and through life, they have these life skills that then, Jordana, when they get to you, as business owners, they've actually got some skills along the way to assess it and makes your job even more clear.
And you know what's, yes, and you know what's interesting, you know, what I heard her say about her business, and I think a lot of business owners are experiencing this, have experienced it, will continue to experience this. She mentioned that with business, she, you know, with COVID, because of COVID, this is the line, because of COVID, ... right? Because of COVID, this is what I did. Because of COVID, this is what I didn't do. And I think when she was explaining, when the doctor was explaining that because of COVID, she went into this telehealth, right? And this wasn't the original plan, but she had to pivot and adapt, and it's worked for her. And interestingly enough, what I've experienced from a lot of the clients that I work with and the ones that I will work with, and even my own business, we tend to stand in our own way because we're waiting until things get better before we move forward, before we do something. Stop it. If you learn anything here, stop it, because you can't wait. The world has changed, business has changed, you need to change with it. You need to adapt to technology and doing things virtually and remotely, and the ones that do will thrive. You're gonna have some difficult times, I assure you, but you're gonna dust yourself off, you're gonna get some coaching, you're gonna get better and stronger and do better, and your business will thank you for it. The people who need you, they can't wait, okay? And if they're waiting, they're gonna find someone else to take care of them.
True that.
So if you are not advancing because you're waiting for things to get happen, I have no patience for that. I was an in-person trainer and coach and speaker. That's what I did. And if I was still waiting, my business wouldn't have doubled like it has. I wouldn't have helped the clients and the organizations and the businesses and the business owners that needed my help. So think about everyone who's watching and listening. What are you waiting for to get better? You need to get better. That's really my message. Like, we need to get better and not wait for things to get better, because things will get better if you do. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Is it fair to say that parents have one thing in common? They have children. And you know something? But you got to think about this. Parents had to be better parents during this epidemic.
Yeah.
You had to man up, because you let school do it. You let after school do it. You let grandpa and grandma do it. Listen, been there, done that. All of a sudden, we had to become real parents. And the object of the game, you want to teach your kids to read better, then you read to them. You teach them. If you're willing to sacrifice you and your precious time, which I understand is very important, you're going to have to make a change. This thing, if it didn't teach us anything, it has taught us, make a change, make it big, make it bold, and go get it. I love that she says that. Don't wait, because it's going to pass you over. I had this conversation today. Maybe we should wait. What the hell are you waiting for? We've been waiting for a year and a half.
I don't
And
know.
the
I'm-
other thing that we should have learned, and if we haven't, we need to now, is all about our priorities. Our families are a priority. Our health is a priority. How we're thinking, what we're doing. Like, if you're not loving what you're doing, do something else. Start small, but start. Like, what are you making a difference on? How are you impacting people? We need to get clear on those priorities. And when you do, then that's going to impact. That's going to, I mean, my kids watch what I do, and I can see that they're, you know, your kids are watching you if you have kids. If you don't have kids, your family, your inner circle, people are watching you. So give them something to watch and feel good about what you're doing. But stop over analyzing and waiting until things get better. You need to get better first, and you need to grow yourself, and you need to grow your business, and you need to make some changes, and you need to adapt, and that's why reflecting on last quarter is so important, because then you can decide what you want to do now. Everyone's like, okay, now I'm going to play catch up. Now this is what I have to do. I need to reach these clients. Slow down. You know, that's why I'm very strategic, but I love about what you were talking about, and she was too, about being creative. Let's get creative. Let's think outside the box of how we're going to approach our businesses and our careers and our own self-growth, and empowering and getting our health, our kids' health better, and eating, and like that's a priority.
Dr. Sam, I'm loving what you're doing, because I wish I had known you when my kids were little, because it was so hard to figure out what to make, and then you just give them what they want, and then you watch they become larger bodied kids, and the effect that has on them forever. And until now, they remember back to those days of, Mom, you gave me this, and you took me out for snacks all the time. It was not that I did it to hurt them, it was just you wanted them to eat something. And there was always like food is love type of thing, but food can be a healthy love if you find the right ways to do it. And you help with menu planning and the movement thing, right? It's not about, and I worked in pediatrics for so long, it's the rewards are time with mom and dad or your caregiver. It's not a muffin, right? So maybe we go to the park, or we go for a walk as time together, instead of, go out for ice cream type of thing, or you cook healthy meals together. Are these some of the strategies you're working with?
So actually, I take an intuitive eating approach. And so what we work on is really that positive relationship with food and movement overall.
I need that now.
It should be pleasurable. It should be fun. And so I do work with parents on planning meals because they do end up being kind of a short order cook and making, as you said, these 3 different meals for 3 different kids. And not only is it exhausting, but it's expensive. And so really helping families find this balance between the parents wanting their child to eat nutritious food, but if we place too much of an emphasis on this food is good, this food is a bad food, it actually can spiral into kids wanting those foods more and feeling like those foods are above other foods. And really working on how do we make this a positive relationship with food from now until the time they grow into adults and end up at Jordana.
That's amazing.
It's really funny. When Freddie was born, Freddie always wanted to come with us to restaurants. So I made it a rule. I said, if you're going to come to a restaurant, you have to have a salad. You got to have, you know how they have that plate of different greens and stuff? My son was an angel at every restaurant in New York City. He got, Willie Stargell met him from the Pirates and gave him a picture. Forget about it. The kid was amazing because he wanted to be there. He wanted to be there with mom and dad. He wanted to be older. He wanted to feel accountability and responsibility. And he ate the right foods. I got to tell you, Gio not so much. But Freddie, ever since he was growing up, he ate better than me the right foods. But he did it because he wanted to mimic me and Michelle. He wanted to be older. He wanted to be looked at that way. He wanted people to come over to the table and say, boy, what a well-behaved kid. He used to love that. So I used the restaurants to get him to eat the right foods. It's kind of strange.
I love what you're doing, Dr. Sam. I want to chat off air and see how we can maybe do a segment on the Kids Network on our BYOB and put it on there about giving parents some strategies, especially now that we're going into summer and what's changing for them, because kids are still going to be home. Some went back to school, now they're home and your summer camp, and how to get your kids moving in the South Florida heat, things that we need to know firsthand would be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. How do people reach you for more information?
So I'm actually the most active on Instagram, where I think we've connected.
Yeah.
At Dr. Sam Goldman, or my website, www.theot4me.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. More to come. We'll see what we can put together for these kids as like a BYOB or something, Freddie. I think would be great.
I think it'd be kind of cool.
I kind of need M&M. We have an intern that on every production, and then she'll put like a chicken nugget, or she'll put like vegetables. She has like these pop-up pictures that are so cool that maybe we can get her to do something off site.
You got it.
Thank you, Dr. Sam, so much. Contact her at OT4Me, theot4me.com. More to come. Get your kids eating healthier. No more picky eaters. Get them up and moving. Being active kids means active adults, and then prosperous. Take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more with Jordana Foster. Lunch and Learn. We got Steve Gubb with us and Taylor Morgan. Let's get into this Lunch and Learn. What does Q2 look like for you going forward? Give us a call, 888-994-4995, and we'll be right back.
Than they did before. Investing in your own personal development as well as the development of your team is an absolute necessity in this new, ever-changing digital business landscape. Mastering mindset and effective communication skills are critical pieces to the success and growth of your business, now more than ever. I'm Jordana Foster, founder of Ready, Set, Go Beyond. As a certified mindset coach, business strategist, communication and leadership trainer, and motivational speaker, I am passionate about helping business professionals, business owners, executive managers, sales teams, and organizations to elevate mindset, enhance communication, and up-level performance. Mindset and communication are the key skills for success, especially now with most of us working remotely and interacting with our clients virtually on a daily basis. Don't just survive, it's time to thrive. Contact me for a complimentary 20-minute discovery session at Ready, Set, Go readysetgobeyond@gmail.com. Like and message me on Facebook at Ready Set Go Beyond, or contact me on my website at johnmaxwellgroup.com/Jordana Foster. If you want to grow your business or advance in your career, you need to grow yourself first. Step up, show up, and never give up. It's time to go beyond.
Born in Marseille, France, Max Lazega creates whimsical and free-flowing interpretive art. His 40 years in the construction industry created the foundation for his craft. His unique work displays his view of the future with bold and playful combinations of materials and processes, but the methodology remains consistent. He fuses recycled materials and discarded building supplies into a fresh, well-executed approach. Lazega has lived in Miami, Florida most of his life, where he pursues his lifelong passion of creating industrial art. For more information, contact Max Lazega at artworkstudios.org or 786-326-88.
Hi friends, it's Bree and Allie from Kids and Capes. Tune in Saturday mornings on the Brooklyn Cafe Kids Television Network at 10 o'clock, where we share fun and ideas. And remember, peace, love, and kindness.
Looking for a place to get your ice cream fix? Look no further than Cold Stone Creamery. At Cold Stone, we make our ice cream fresh every single day in store. We have over 20 different ice cream base flavors and over 30 different mix-ins to choose from. We also have plenty of signature creations if you don't want to go ahead and choose your own. To end your creation, you can put it in one of our freshly made waffles. We have ice cream cakes, ice cream sandwiches, milkshakes, smoothies, banana splits, sundaes, and so many other things for you to come check out and enjoy. We are the official ice cream store of the Brooklyn Cafe. Hope to see you soon, and remember, it's always a great day for ice cream.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
You got your bell. You got your bell back. That's Cracker Barrel on the board doing her thing. We had small talk with Val today. We had, for our quiet studio, they did a lot of work quietly. We had talking to Taylor, small talk with Val. They're teaching Haley how to run board. Haley's mom is an author of children's books, and she writes for magazines.
Really?
She's like, my mom's from Brooklyn. Do you know her? Like, no, so sorry.
I would say yes, I know her.
But that was a great segment we had with Dr. Sam, the OT number 4, me. If you've got a child who's a picky eater, or you want to get them moving and get motivated to get up and going. I remember those PE field things we used to have to do, and you have to do all these pull-ups, and because I was a larger child, so for me those were the worst. I was the kid in the lunchroom that would have 2 lunches. Yeah, that was me. Fact. So for me, I get this. So for going forward, it's like food is love. So I would always give my kids I thought it was healthy, but yeah, not so much. You know, fried fish sticks, when you can't find the fish, is not always the best food
Fruit
of
roll-ups.
choice.
If you
That
give your
too.
kids fruit roll-ups, doctor says don't give them that.
That's because there's no
He
fruit.
still eats fruit roll-ups.
There's no fruit in that.
I never ate fruit roll-ups.
Never?
And, no, and as Sam was speaking, I'm listening to her. I hear my children's pediatrician telling us, don't make 3 meals, make 1 meal, everybody eats the one. I hear all these words again. It's all coming back to me. It's
All
echoing
coming
in
back.
my head.
Everyone's shaking their head. I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I
Oh,
made
yeah.
3 meals.
And of course, what we did, we made 28 meals every night. It was great.
Every night, and I remember it. And now when I make one, I'm like, oh, just one? Now I don't cook at all, so it's a whole nother story. I think that burnt me out of cooking.
I made 1 meal, but I served it up differently. I put stuff in it that, on top of it. I put toys around it. Because Gio and Freddie were complete opposites.
And then they would tell me, don't serve your children. put it on the table. They need to serve themselves.
No,
It was
no.
a whole thing because
That's
they
too-
needed the independence to serve themselves.
Too messy.
The funny thing, I guess just say this, the funny thing is about all of that, and it was tough, you're making all these meals and doing this and picky eaters, and I was a picky eater. The thing is, my children are now 30, I have 2 boys, 33, 31. One is a foodie galore, eats everything, and the other one eats 99% of everything. It's like that childhood, completely different. Everything in its own good time.
Oh, there you go.
Everything
Congratulations.
works out.
Nice job. You
Yeah.
created 2 eatables.
Everything works out. But I love how we were able to segue both that segment, Jordana, because her business as helping children and reassessing, she's not here because she wanted to do it virtual, right? So that changed her business plan. Steve, we met once, March 16th of last year. Everything else has been virtual until last Friday.
Right.
He was able to come back in. Taylor, I think, has popped in once, maybe twice. We've seen you. And you too pivoted your business on all of this. So it all segues together when we go back to what we have changed for business, how business has changed, and what we need to go forward. And I want to ask Steve, what did you do to change your business when all of this happened? Because we met, you were making cocktails in Studio A.
Yes, that's what I brought a couple of cocktails with me that day. A lot of my contact went either just by telephone or virtual using the computer. The business I'm in is a very personal business. It's very face-to-face. Every business isn't like that. So it was, I'm not going to say it was more or less difficult, but it certainly was a challenge for me. And the best news is I've made it through. I've made the adjustments. I'm now down here, once again going face-to-face, reestablishing contacts, which frankly fade over time. For example, I'm leaving the show here today and going up to Melbourne, as we talked about. These folks haven't seen me in a year, and if you're out of sight, out of mind. It's a cliche, but it's very true. So that's you do what has to be done to weather the storm, and then put the boat to sail. Oh my God, what a cliche! But you have to sail. You have to get out there again, and you got to put your feet on the ground, and you got to do it. The one thing I find that's the hardest thing to do is after kind of maybe relaxing a bit and you've got an excuse for almost a year. The toughest thing to do is say, open the door and get out of the door. Get out of the door. At the end of the day, I mean, I was working yesterday because I'm in Florida and I have to take advantage of every minute. It was 8 o'clock last night. I was working 8 o'clock Sunday night. I was out all day. I drove 100 miles yesterday. Why? Because that's what you have to do. And to drive that last 10 miles, it's murder. Because you want to say, yeah, I want to go home and sit in front of the couch, watch the game. Can't do it.
You got to do it. And Jordan, I want to ask you, I know we're talking about Q2 and the changes we've made, but those last 10 miles, are you seeing a change what people are doing, how they're putting forth their time? Because I told you, I spent Saturday all day working from 10 until 10 Saturday night in my shorts. I was outside, I was inside. People are working hard. I can't tell you we're all working smarter, but we're certainly working harder to keep, as you say, Q1, you didn't expect anything to be good, but to maintain. How do we make Q2 better than maintaining?
Well, I want to unpack a few of the things. So the first thing is that I think there's an assumption that when you build relationships online, you're not building a relationship because it's not in person. And I used to believe that before, but I will tell you that the relationships, we prefer to be in person, and we will be in person, but that shouldn't stop anybody from making those connections now, on the phone, having real, authentic conversations. I think that just because they're virtual doesn't mean it can't happen and you can't grow your business. Now, to the second part is that it's very important for us to realize that working harder doesn't mean smarter, and being busy doesn't equal productive. And so that's a huge thing that when I really looked at my own, I have a coach as well, and when I coach and train my clients, time management, when I look at what it is, I don't just go in there and train somebody and coach them. I want to look at their daily schedule. And the interesting thing is when we were talking about assessing and reflecting, you need to look at how you're spending your time, because what's happening now, and I know that I'm doing a lot more now, like time frame wise, but I've never been more effective and efficient than ever before, because I'm looking at the time, I'm blocking my time, I'm not wasting my time, I'm realizing that it's such a commodity, and then I help my clients look at that, because I was looking at my schedule pre-COVID, and I was wasting a lot of time and having meetings that could have been done on a phone, right? And not having conversations that were really authentic with people that were taking my energy. And I really needed to do an assessment. And I will tell you now, even though we're spending more time, and they really, you know, it's not that we stop like we used to at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Now it's going into the weekend. But even if it's just for a few hours, I think that's okay if you are aware of what you're doing and why you're doing that, so that it can make it easier for you the next week. I think that mindfulness and being very intentional with how we're spending our time, what we're doing with our time, and who we're spending our time with is a game changer.
Fred, you're a huge believer in face-to-face.
Yes, I am.
And and not that I'm not a believer in, but I'm also a believer of, like, I can do a 10-minute call on the phone and do what I have to do.
Right.
But Freddie is, and he knows, I tap out of meetings like this, because I say what I say,
Right.
and then I know I've got all of these, but he will sit in a meeting, and he is the best at sitting face-to-face or on a phone for an hour and a half. He will.
I don't look at the clock.
He just sits.
Well, there's
and
a
me,
prime
I'm
example
this way.
right there. You know, I can't do what Steve can do. Okay, he's the owner of Gubba Rum. He owns it. He runs it. He looks like a Gubba Rum bottle to me. So along comes somebody who knows restaurants, and this is the man who can talk the language that needs to be had. And I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes in quarter one, if you're not a good closer, and I know I'm going to get written up for this, I know everybody's going to call me, but the bottom line here is you got to be a good closer. You got to be a good negotiator, but you got to be a good closer. And if you're not a good closer, you got to learn to be a good closer.
Right.
Deals are made here, but the real deal is where you can't see it yet. And you have to trust the system. Trust the system. But you're right, I believe in face-to-face, because I think that people who do it face-to-face know it better, they impact better, and they deliver better. Everything to me is about the delivery.
We all prefer face-to-face. I do too. However, we can still be very effective now. We just have to you know, one of the main things that I train and coach on is how to communicate more effectively. And in order to communicate effectively, we have to listen. We have to use the right words. And it's an art. It is not just something. So when you talk about closing, look, at the end of the day, all of us business owners, it is about closing. But more importantly, in order to close, because you can feel when you're being sold, right? How many of us know when we're being sold?
Oh, yeah.
We hate it. But if you're building those relationships, you're establishing those connections, you're building those relationships, it ends up connecting the dots to the close. You're not going in there to close. You're taking those steps. You're really getting to know. You're asking the right questions. You can't just close a client and a deal without knowing what their needs are.
Right.
It's all about me? Well, then
But
good
what
luck
about
with that.
what about the client coming to the realization that they know what they need? What
That's-
about closing in a deal? Not me closing it, but you have to be able to know the difference between a close and a close.
Yes.
Sometimes the client knows what they need, and we have to get to that junction. It isn't about me telling you this is the way to close.
Right.
It's about me listening to how you want to close, good, bad, or indifferent.
Well,
You're
it's
right.
interesting because we have a client that we introduced Steve to, and Steve has an X price point on what he can sell it for. The client says, I want it for Y. You and I can't make that decision. That
Not
was
at
between
all.
Steve and a client, and Steve could have said, no, this is my price, I have to do it this way. Or he can, you know, they can negotiate and come to an agreement.
Or do what we did, which is give them an alternative product.
Yes.
But you came
Which
to
he
some
didn't
sort of
tell me
compromise
about,
and
but that was a
agreement, right?
great alternative. Listen, we sell Roku and Amazon. I was on the phone this morning, and people want a television presence. you got it. But there are certain things that I cannot negotiate because I don't own that company. But I can negotiate what you're going to put on it.
Right.
I can negotiate how you're going to gather what you're going to put on it, which should be an impactful show.
Right.
Right?
That clarity that you're talking about is so important. Knowing, sometimes the client thinks that they know, and they
that.
don't know.
True that.
So that's why we need to have these conversations and ask those questions. And really, sometimes in those conversations, they find out that what they said they wanted really isn't exactly, maybe it's taking a different approach to get there. Just like you were talking about compromise. And that's a big part of it. But you need to know what each of you bring and what you want the end result to be. And then how you get there is you need to be flexible and creative and strategic in that approach.
A couple of things that Jordana said, just to support exactly what she said. In previous lives, I sold health insurance all over the country over the phone. And which means I had about 10 seconds to become best friends with whoever was on the other end of that call. And then I had to ask question after question after question, zeroing in on what that person's needs were, what their budget was, what could I provide them. I also, for a year, sold cars. And people would walk in having no idea what they wanted, having no idea what their budget was. Cars, Freddie, cars. Automobiles, hey, you know what I mean. And what your job is to ask questions. A, become best friends with them so they'll talk to you. B, do the same exact thing. And this is what's exactly what Jordana is describing. Asking question after question to zero the customer in on exactly what they want, so that instead of trying 20 different things, we've got just what you're looking for based on what you've just described your needs to be. Let's go take a ride in that vehicle. And that's exactly what you're saying. And you can certainly do that, as I once learned, over the phone. It wasn't done by computer back then, it was just phone calls. Now you can do it on the computer visually, which is great.
It's totally changed. And I like what you say about the client not knowing what they need, because you only know what you know. We only knew what we knew. And Q1 last year, we knew what we knew. We knew what we needed to change some things. But
but I always want to change.
But we didn't know.
I want to change Q3. We're not even there yet.
We didn't know that we would be teaching podcasting.
No, you threw that at me.
Things that when someone gives you an opportunity that you figure it out.
Jump.
And
it's funny, because of the podcasting, we talked to the guy that owns the pirate ship, who then I said, man, if I could get a pirate ship, maybe I could get a plane. And that whole thing went down a whole different way.
You never know where things are going to lead if you don't take advantage of the opportunities that are right in front of us. And interestingly enough, a lot of people are so, fear. I can talk all day. I train on it. I coach on it. We talked about it a lot on my show together. We're so afraid of what could go wrong, and I don't know, and just do it. And like you said, figure it out, because you don't know who the person is that you're going to meet. I have met the most incredible people this year because I said yes.
Well, let me ask you a question about time management. Because here I am, I spent my weekend trying to non-time management. I didn't leave my house for 48 hours. But then it was, oh my gosh, I should do this. And now I got to do my taxes, and I got to do this. And then it's someone's birthday next week. And next thing I know, I've taken myself down this path of that I have no time. I didn't get done half the things that I've now worried about, that I still have to worry about. How do we manage our time more effectively going into the next part?
So I just did a whole training on this. First of all, it's about time blocking. And so we all have huge to-do lists. So I would recommend, instead of having a list of 10 things that you want to do on Saturday or Friday or whatever that day might be, only have your top 3 priorities that are non-negotiables. You have to get them done today, or at least make a huge dent. You can add on as you accomplish them, but those are the ones. And I also like to set a timer on my phone. It's another tool that I utilize for me and my clients. Set it for an hour, and then look at what you were able to accomplish for those things on your list. You will be amazed at how you start to keep yourself in check. I love accountability. I do this with my clients all the time. But when that timer goes off and you look at what you were able to do, you're either going to feel that you weren't as effective, or you'll notice that you started looking at things that had nothing to do with what was on your list, and then it gives you another hour to get back and set that timer again, or go outside and get some fresh air, clear your head and regroup. Because what happens is when you don't do that, the end of the day comes and you're frustrated, and then you're stuck, and then you don't want to do anything, and you feel bad. And when you feel bad, you can't move forward. So it's really important. Keep those, prioritize a list, only do 3, top 3 that really have a deadline, a time, an end time when they do have to be done. Because a lot of things we end up doing on that list are things that don't have an urgent deadline. There's something we want to do, or there's something that's easy to
That's
do.
what we do the most of.
That's what we do the most of, and then we get frustrated because we're not getting the results that we want from the things that we didn't do.
That's fast.
Isn't that amazing? You don't get the results, and then you look around and says, okay, who am I going to blame? Whose fault was it? Like, I blame Slick for everything.
Well, it's like my own fault. So my bank changed their digital app.
Right.
I did not need to do that on Saturday, but yet I went to look at something and I thought, oh, it'll take 2 seconds. But of course it doesn't. And then you go to put in the info and it doesn't work. And then you got to call the bank and they go, oh, because you got to put this in. Next thing you know, it's
How many hours later?
It's 45 minutes, and then you got to do the other accounts at the bank. And I thought this was so not on my list of things to do, and it could have absolutely waited until I really needed that bank account, which I didn't. But it didn't. It took me off my track, and next thing it was 4 o'clock.
I know.
So
The
like
distractions come into play all the time. It's like that shiny new thing. So if you just have if you set the timer and you ended up doing, you deviated off course temporarily, that's okay. But then after the hour goes up, you're going to say, oh God, I really didn't do what I needed to do. And you're not going to spend that other 45 minutes doing it because you caught yourself. So it's really important to catch ourselves so that we don't go down that rabbit hole too fast.
I think doing Facebook marketing. So you go out, to put up your posts and things like that, and then you get sucked down the rabbit hole.
Right.
And an hour later, which feels like 5 minutes, you're looking at all your stupid friends' things. Not stupid, I'm sorry. My friends are awesome.
She
but your
said that
friends'
we
stupid
didn't.
things. But you know what I mean? It's a time suck.
Right.
So it's like, how do you get
like
yourself
you're scrolling
off of
right now.
doing the marketing and then
He's
just go
scrolling
away?
right now.
Taylor, it's really funny you say that because I spent half of Friday, all of Saturday, being a cheerleader for people that I know.
Slick goes, really, you?
For people that I know, for years, they have businesses, and now it's upon them. This is why I got excited when you talked about the Lunch and Learn on Tuesday night, because the light bulb went off, and all of a sudden, everybody that I do business with, I don't know if this is gonna work. All of a sudden, everybody was coming to the door worried about the next step, worried about taking that next step, worried about doing something out of the box and believing it. And I think that the message here today is you gotta believe. Tug McGraw, remember Tug McGraw? In 72, you gotta believe. He used to bang that glove. No, 72. That was 86. 72, you gotta believe. And this is a team that came out of nowhere. And you know what, as a country, we are coming back out of nowhere. We have this fake belief that we are always indestructible. That's not true. We can hurt like anybody else. But if you take that next step and you really believe, I can't believe the amount of time I spent talking to them friends and acquaintances and businesses. And I told them.
But look what it did to you. Slick, look how you walked in this morning. It didn't elevate your mood.
No.
Well, that's the energy.
No,
That
I
has
was
to be yes,
no.
it is.
I'm going to tell you why I was upset. Today is the last class that we're teaching podcasts.
No, next week.
No, today is the 3rd week, unless you went to 4. Look at your calendar.
Wednesday is the last class for high
Yes,
school.
but today's the last Monday.
No, next week is.
Well, I didn't know that. I thought today was the
Oh,
last.
kids, don't
We
fight
got one
in
more
front of the
week.
children.
We're so married.
I know the difference between 3 and 4.
Kids
So-
don't listen.
So I thought that today was the last day. And I made a promise to myself today. A promise to those kids. And I'm going to be angry until I get that promise done. And it was done. Yes? You go to WSOM, it's done. And that's what I was upset about. Had nothing to do with anything else. Because if I make a promise, my word is my bond. And I will keep doing it until I get it done right. That's what I was upset about this morning, nothing else.
Okay.
So don't change that around.
Okay. But when we look back at the past, I can't even say Q1, Jordan. I got to go back to last
No,
year
please, we
and the
have to
beginning
go
of
back
this
to
year.
last year. Absolutely.
And it's hard for me to ask you this. You don't like what you see, but I don't think anyone likes what they saw, but there has to be some silver linings that everyone. And I want to ask Taylor, you may not have liked what happened last year, but you were able to find a positive way to change.
Lemons out of lemonade. Lemonade out of lemons. I always get that backwards. Yeah, I mean, my own business, my other one, Local Dines, in business 19 years, another restaurant marketing company. I had to close down. I can't sell gift certificates to restaurants that aren't open. So we took that two-month time when restaurants were closed to come up with the concept and the idea behind Quench Time, which is such a better idea, and it has a mission, and that's really, really what I'm proud of. And you posted something on the Brooklyn TV, Cafe TV page about leaders making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And that just spoke to me because it's really about making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Leadership will come. I don't care about the leadership. I don't even care if anybody knows whose business it is. It's really about the legacy and about affecting other people's lives long term. So I loved when you posted that, and
I gotta tell
gave
you,
it a big love.
A couple of weeks ago, we watched the movie. What was it called? The one, yes, you don't look away. You know what I'm talking about. The one that was on Netflix, the big one about the senior care and stuff.
Yes.
What was it called?
I Care a Lot.
I Care a Lot.
Because Steve told us to.
I haven't seen that.
I Care a Lot. And remember that? And in that movie, it says, am I a lion or a lamb? So I came in here and I challenged all of our producers. Because if you're a lamb, it's time to become a lion. Okay, it's time to raise your voice and to be heard. So when I saw that today, it continues that voyage because I won't stop until everybody in this house understands that they are a lion. And I gotta tell you a secret between you and me and about 400 people out there. Somebody at the radio station, I said this to her. And she says, today I am a lion. Okay, so it does work. You know, what Jordana has been saying, using words of accountability and everything else. I even make a joke after the show and I throw them back at her because it's not easy to be the best. If you think it's easy to be the best, you don't understand what the word best is, but you got to go for it. Because in this business, it will eat you alive if you don't give it your best. Right?
And you know what? You don't even need, that's amazing that you just said that. You don't even need to be the best compared to other people. You need to be the best according to you.
There you
Be
go.
better. How about that? Let's all be better. We need to be better, you know, human beings. We need to be better business people. We need to be better thinkers. We need to be better communicators. We just need to be better. And if that is what we strive for, you know, being that lion, if we strive to be better than we were yesterday, you know, Dawn, you brought up the fact of, you know, most of us didn't feel good all of last year, and there was good reason, and from businesses and careers that were, and health and all of the things that have impacted families and our world and our lives. But what came out of that? What were you able to, how were you able to grow? What did you learn? And how did you pivot, that word, how did you adjust, like what you were saying with your business? What did you do that you're better now because of that?
Well, let me ask you, what did you do as a coach to adjust your business? Other than going virtual, there were some other things that you had to have done.
Oh my gosh. Well, I didn't allow, I realized that my message needed to reach more people, so I really didn't make it about me, which is interesting. I mean, my business grew in spite of that, but I made it about who needed what I needed to share with them, to be elevated and to communicate. And when I did that, and I realized that that really shifted, you know, not the what's in it for me. My business is going to grow if I focus on the businesses that need what I'm doing. That was the shift. Not, remember, like, you know, closing and everything. It was about who can I help, who can benefit from what I have to offer, And I kept getting better. I utilized the time, I'm, doing diversity and inclusion trainings. I'm DISC certified. I have all of these additional resources that I got better at so that I have a bigger wheelhouse with which to serve my clients. That's what I did. And the limited thinking went out the window. It was how many people can I impact? Not just how much money I'm gonna make, because the other one comes with the more people that you impact. And I had to get that thinking different. And when I did, it changed everything.
I love that it's not about you. Just what you said, it's not about you. And we sit here all day and people think what we do is about us. It's not about us. It's about networking, like how Taylor and Steve, how you guys are here together to network. Last week we had 3 ladies here and they all got to network. How Tracy comes from Seminole Hard Rock Casino and she networks with Summer and she networks with Steve. That's the beauty of what we get to do. We have a lot of fun and we get to drink along the way. But
well, delivery is everything.
You got to do. Someone's got to do it, right? Someone's got to sample the Gubba Gold and Gubba Silver is all I can tell you. But what's next for you, Jordana, going forward?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm doing a corporate retreat for a client that just reached out to me because they wanted leadership and team building. I'm working with a corporation in Palm Beach and continuing to, get them more engaged because a lot of clients aren't doing that, and doing more, lunch and learns for corporations and businesses to be able to see all of the different trainings, find out where they are struggling, and then showing them the resources and the tools that I have, because it's all about equipping our teams and also the managers and the owners to elevate their thinking so that they can keep going no matter what we're thrown, so that they can inspire people.
Don't eat the fear sandwich.
No.
And I was glad you said that because I know we don't have a ton of time, but I want to ask you, when you're dealing with corporations or more than solopreneurs, to keep the psyche of your employees up when maybe you're stressed, maybe the business isn't rolling in, you're doing the best you can to keep the business going, how do you keep morale up?
So great question, and that's where I'm coming in and doing what I do. So I do this discovery session with the owners or the C-suites and the upper level management to find out where their challenges are. Right now, most companies, it's motivation, it's engagement, it's participation, and their employees are craving personal development and professional growth right now. And they want to be better, like what we were just talking about. So I'm doing weekly trainings. They're all virtual right now. And I also really strongly stress that when I'm training, we work with books because we have to read right now and fill ourselves up. So the consistency, if I recommend once a week, and then having these mastermind sessions, or I call them roundtables, where we're having conversations about what we just trained on. And it's really important because having the conversation of people who don't feel, even if they're working remotely or if they're frontliners, they don't feel like their voice matters or that they're valued, and to be able to give them a platform with which to talk about as they're growing. They're going to step up, they're going to go into the bigger jobs, they're going to go into management, they're going to feel that they're worthy in spite of everything that's, circumstances and situations that everyone's encountering. So that's really, it's thrilling and transformational.
How do they find you? How do people find you?
Oh, so they can contact me on my website, which is johnmaxwellgroup.com/Jordana Foster. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Ready, Set, Go Beyond, or they can email me to find out about a lunch and learn for their team or a 30-minute discovery session at readysetgobeyond@gmail.com.
And what time and day is your show?
My show is every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Live on Facebook and also on WWNN.
Fantastic.
And I love being a part of this with
And
you.
we are working with the Beasley radio station because she's on Real Radio. We're working with Jody that we are going to be utilizing the back kitchen as a networking sphere, a bubble. We're not ready there yet because I'm not ready to let that out loose, but we are going to get back just the way it used to be on Tuesday nights. May start slow, but you know what I'm talking about. All the networking that went on in there and everything else, we're going to try to get back to that because we want to bring the radio station back to life, and it's right here in Boca, so that's in the future. It's coming.
Fantastic.
All right. And Taylor, how do we find all this information again?
quenchtime.com, QUENCHTIME.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, mostly Facebook because I'm too busy to do Instagram. I need you, lady. Jordana. I'm so glad she's here today because seriously, I have.
You're doing awesome. I'm very proud of you.
Well, I have to.
Well
I do have to say, I do have two business partners because it's not all about me. And my phone's ringing. It's not all about me. One of my business partners, Ron Spale, was the former CFO of NASA. We don't mess around. And the other one, Bruce Caprera, been in the restaurant industry for over 30 years.
Wow.
So we really have a good team, and that's what I wanted to talk to you, Jordana, about, because we're all working virtually, and it's a little tough. So thank you very much.
And we gotta get as many restaurants as possible.
We're
to take on.
trying.
And you know what? What you're doing is going to have an outreach on
Yes.
some other businesses as well, because you have the Golden Key. People actually, 85 restaurants is a huge number of restaurants, and thank God that they're going strong. Okay, I don't know if you have Luna Rosa on your deal.
Cafe Luna Rosa will probably come on board after the summer. They had to get through, season, and Bonnie over there, great people. So hopefully we'll have
Steve,
it.
thanks for joining us. Steve
And
will
we'll
be
see
back
you
again
tomorrow.
this week.
We'll see you tomorrow, Steve. No, we'll see you tomorrow, Steve. That's right. I will show you how to use your phone.
And Tug McGraw will be here as a U.S. special guest.
Yes, Tug McGraw is always here. He is.
Steve Gubb joining us in studio. Gubba Rum, as Freddie always says, get your Gubba on.
It's your Gubba week on.
Gubba Silver, Gubba Gold. Jordana Foster, Ready, Set, Go Beyond. Tune in tomorrow night at 7:30 on WWNN. Ready to go teach some podcasting. We're heading up to Space of Mind, WSOMradio.com. Check it out to hear all of this incredible work that these young students are creating. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe, be kind to each other, and we will see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. drive time.
And don't be late.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's about it for today. Even though the show's over, the Brooklyn Cafe is always open for business. You're invited to join the fun every day from 12 to 2. If you missed some of the laughs from today, Dawn and Freddie S. will bring you more good cheer next time. You can follow the Brooklyn Cafe on Facebook at the Brooklyn Cafe TV to rewatch every minute of the show. We'll see you next time.
Cold and sleepless nights, I wait for you to bring me back to life. In my electric eyes, it doesn't mean that time can thicken every single breath. I want to unfreeze my heart and fly away. That's why I wanna say and craters. Open up my eyes, waterfalls of ice, sweeping me away like an avalanche. Helpless as I fall, the words can't say it all. Sweeping me away like an listen for a sound, waiting deep inside my maze of sweeping thrills and colors. Just a ray of light, bathing me in drops of ink that gleams across my body. Wish you could unfreeze my heart and we could fly.